Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. Everybody, welcome back to Triple H Hamilton Happy Hour. This is Tobias Hamilton from Hamilton Piano Company, and we appreciate you listening in and also giving us your advice on what you think we should do. And so we are actually doing a video podcast this time. People have asked us to do that, and we've been wanting to do it, so we bought some cameras. We only have one camera tonight. We're still working on this. We're a baby steps kind of a company. So, but we hope you enjoy it, and please give us your feedback, whether it's good or bad. That's the only way we're going to learn. So once again, we have Mike Hayden with the company.
Hey there.
And we have Michael Boland with the company.
Hello, how's everyone today?
And so what we're going to do tonight is actually get into Mike and Mike, like we like to call M&M. We have Mike and Mike, and we have Trevor and Tony, and we call them TNT. So when they're on the truck, they're TNT, and then we have M&Ms. And what we're going to do is highlight Michael Boland's career and Michael Hayden's career with the moving business and what they've done. So, Mike, how did you get started into the moving business?
Well, we're going to start with me.
Yeah. Well, you're not prepared?
No, I just figured he's been here longer, but that's fine. I started when I was 17 years old. Got a job outside of high school. I had to do something, and it really kind of worked out that way. My first wife at the time, well, I guess my soon-to-be future ex-wife at the time, she had an aunt that worked at Jordan Kids Music in College Park, Maryland, where I'm from, and she got me in the door there, and I started working in a warehouse, basically putting benches together and unboxing pianos and sweeping the floors and all that good old stuff that I like to do. Eventually got called out to go out on the road to help on a job, and it's one I'll never forget. It was a Steinway B, and I had to go in a split-level house, and I went out to help the guys, and it was a really hard job. It was a tight squeeze getting up the stairs, and we got it up there, and I was just kind of blown away, and I fell in love with it. And it's kind of stuck with me ever since, and stayed with Jordan Kits for, I guess, probably better part of 10 years. Moved up to Philadelphia for them to work at Wilmington Piano, which was interesting, working in Philly and getting to go to New York and all that stuff all the time, which was fun, different stuff. But they were really long days because we'd be in, outside of Philly, and we'd be in sometimes Staten Island and Atlantic City and Delaware all on the same day. So it would be a lot of 12 hours of driving without even moving any pianos. And then moved back down to Jordan Kits in Maryland and bounced around with several different companies around that area before I met my wife, current wife and forever wife. And moved to Florida and
Good
started.
Response.
What's that?
Good response.
Yeah.
Hope she's
Make sure
listening.
I craft that right.
Yeah, right.
And moved to Orlando, Florida, where Stacy's from, and met the guys at DC Moore and started working with them. And I guess was in Orlando for 2 years or so, and they decided they wanted to open up a branch down here in West Palm Beach, and asked me to come down and open it up, which I did, and that's how I ended up down in this area where I ran DC Moore's local piano moving location from 2006 to, what was it, last year was
2023.
Yeah, when I came here. We kind of shook up the piano business a little bit down here. And, you said we had been talking for a long time. We say 7 years, 8 years, something like that, about me coming on board here. And
You're so freaking stubborn.
it was finally just a good fit for everybody, and it worked out great. And one of the reasons I've wanted to come here for a long time is just because it's cool. You know what I mean? I was on an island when I was running my branch of DC Moore down here. It was just me and the truck and whoever else was on the truck with me.
Right.
Cliff for many years. And in a kind of a revolving door of other people. So it was, you're running the truck. I was doing all the scheduling, there wasn't very many service calls we'd have to do, but doing that if it needed to be done, and it was, a lot of stuff to do for one person, and it often felt, even though if there was ever anything I needed, they were just a phone call away, and I could have backup, but it was still a lot. I felt like I was on my shoulders, and that was one of the things that intrigued me about coming here is I don't have to do all of that stuff. You have everything in place. You got the delivery office and everybody answering phones and scheduling and all that stuff. So it's that's been part of the fun part, along with getting to learn more about pianos again. Like I haven't, back when I was at Jordan Kits, I was doing refinishing and touch up, and I worked in the shop, so I was learning about pianos. And since I was just running that delivery truck forever down here, I wasn't learning anything about pianos forever. So now I'm getting to see soundboards put in and stringing and harps and just learning about stuff, which I haven't done in a long time, which is awesome.
Yeah, and there's with like your history, my history. The cool thing about it is that we are all what's the word I'm looking for? Like incorporating our knowledge together, so that when we come across something, it's like when we go on a difficult move, which after this podcast we got to talk about. I forgot to tell you about that move.
Yeah, we got some pictures to look at.
We got pictures and measurements, but the when you start putting three brains together that know what they're doing, and it makes the job so much easier. Because we're taking something and
collaborating together.
Right. And say, well, what about this? And what if this was to happen? And so on and so forth. And by doing that, we're expecting the unexpected, which keeps problems from happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even from something as simple as like what we built for the Kravis Center that hopefully they're gonna need to use. I know they need it, but they're going to use for the
Kravis Center. Call.
Yeah. Hey. So, but to move their 9-footer onto the rinker stage, it's safer, it's easier, and they won't have to take part of the stage down to do what they need to do. So we work together and come up with these ideas and say, yes, this will work. No, this won't work. And like when we moved Billy Joel's piano down those 12 curved steps, we added, we made the piano board, which we talked about before, but we also padded the part of the steps that were curved, so the lean was taken out of the equation, or it wasn't as much. It was like butter.
Yep.
It just, we had no issues.
Yeah.
So,
we all bring something different to the table, and I think we all complement each other very well. And, you kind of like to rub that in my face, like, oh, I came up with that idea, And hey,
I'm going to tell you why.
I'm not too proud. Okay, a good idea is a good idea.
Right, but you know why I got to do that is because when you came here and you're moving the pianos with the guys, you're like, yeah, you learned from the way a piano tuner shows you how to move a piano. I'm going to show you how a piano mover moves a piano. So I was like, okay, yeah, give it. I'm more of a piano tuner than a piano mover. So when I get one good thing in, I got to bring it up.
He's going to let you know.
You should have signed your name on the pads, maybe.
I should have. Toby was here.
But I find that too, just with us on the truck on a daily basis, we complement each other very well. We've got different backgrounds. And we kind of perfectly, although we do miss some things sometimes, I believe the office would agree. We do complement each other in the fact that I think we each pick up on different things. If something needs to get done, one of us figures it out.
Exactly.
And it works very well.
Kind of like today, we had kind of a slight move that could have been, a little more difficult, but we wound up using one of the piano sleds instead of using a chariot because of the way that the steps came down and then it angled right away, and it just made it a lot easier because we threw it between each other. And we're like,
if you don't know what you're doing, that's a difficult move.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a legit difficult move. Like you come straight out the house and there's 2 steps down, but the sidewalk is on an angle, and then they have squares dug into the sidewalk to make as planters. So like these holes in the sidewalk. So you can't come straight off the steps because there's an angled wall there. Mm-hmm. So for us, it was a piece of cake.
Yeah.
I mean, literally a piece of cake. But if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, that's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
To, work around that little obstacle like that.
Well, we've seen movers coming here. I don't know if we touched on this on previous podcasts, that they're like 6 guys to move a little 5'3" piano, right? And they're getting ready to break it down the way that you don't do it, where you could break the leg. And then the other time we told the guy to stop, him and his guy, because he loosened all 3 legs before he was about to put the piano down on its side. And we're like, dude, you're going to get killed. What are you doing? Get out from underneath the piano.
Break the leg.
Tighten those legs back up, and you and I broke the piano down because the customer was here, and she was almost in tears.
She was in tears.
You know, and it's just like, you know, I don't care if they say they're piano movers. If they move furniture, they're not piano movers. There's a complete difference.
Yeah, we'll be on moves a lot of times, and there'll be movers there. And sometimes they're really cool. Sometimes they have a bit of an attitude. They're like, well, we could have done that, you know. And we'll have a lot of them say, oh, we move pianos too. And I haven't quite done it yet, but I'm always wanting to say, yeah, well, I don't move box of socks. I don't move lamps. Okay, I don't move people's dirty underwear. Okay? You're doing that right now. I'm a piano mover. One of these days. I'm waiting for the right moment.
Well, and the thing is, too, anybody can look at anybody doing something, and when they're professional and persistent or proficient at it, and it makes it look so easy. Someone sees me tune a piano. Oh, I can tune a piano. Okay,
Right.
here you go. Here's the tools you need.
Right.
Well, where do I start? You can do it. Go do it. You know, so just because it looks easy doesn't mean that it is.
Yeah, well, so you're not paying me for the 30 minutes. You're paying me for the 30 years it took to learn how to do it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So, Mike, how about you?
Well, as you know, my wife is your wife's cousin, and she introduced me to you 21 years ago, and before we got married. And I remember you asking me, hey, you mind helping me move a piano to my dad's house? I said, Toby, I ain't got the slightest clue about pianos. He's like, well, I'll teach you. All right. So we broke down the piano, took it down the street to your dad's, and brought another one back, set it back up. And then I helped you off and on for, it was about 18 years, 16 years, because I've been with you steady for 5 now. And, you know, I ran a parts warehouse during the week, and then on weekends I would help you. And then COVID hit, and, you know, you needed somebody, and I needed, you know, something to do, and came on full time, and have enjoyed it ever since.
It's fun. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
I mean, it's something that it's not the same thing every day. You have to use your brain to figure out what's the safest
Every
and
move is
easiest way.
different.
Yep. And you have to use your strength, because if you have to have strength to move a piano,
Yep.
you know. But with knowledge in moving a piano comes leverage is your best friend. So once you figure out what the leverage is, it goes easier. But once again, what I looked at today, that stair move, 5 flights of stairs. Yeah, that one's
Can't always use leverage either.
right. You can't.
mean,
That's just brute strength
yep,
and
there's some-
knowledge.
Some instance you can use the leverage, and some instance you just gotta grin and bear it and truck it through it. You
Yep.
know. So plus, I also got to learn a lot. You know, back when you worked out of your garage, you know, doing action work and stringing, and so, and then I've got to learn a lot more over the years. You know, when you move to your first building, and doing key tops, and got to string a piano there. And of course, we've also done, all kinds of odds and ends here at the new facility.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been real interesting and a lot of fun.
Like hanging lights for the last week, hanging in 16, 18-foot fans, and
Yep.
all that fun stuff. But-
Running electrical, and which I've got a slight background because of my father, learning from my father as he was an electrical engineer, and no, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's the good thing is now that you get to see us, you're getting to see only 2 guys from our team. We want to bring more of our employees in to show everybody why we have such a great team, because we really do have a great team. I mean, everybody gets along. Everybody is happy to work. Everybody, like even Jordan, yes, you're listening to the podcast. He's the one that edits this. And he's doing such a great job with getting us fixed up with the microphones and the headphones and now the video and all the other things that he's doing. So, and then Jorge, getting Jorge up and running with trying to get him on the road with tunings and things like that. So our crew here is excellent. I mean, I'm not saying that because it's our crew. I'm saying that if I was a person coming into this facility to look to have a piano repaired or to buy a piano, and I saw the camaraderie that goes on in this shop, I would be like, oh man, this is a great place to work. You can just feel it. You feel it with
everyone's a
walls.
family here.
Right.
Everyone compliments each other, like Mike was saying earlier.
Yep. Absolutely. So I don't know exactly where we left off. We took a little potty break, but
Is that what you call it?
that move that we did today was really cool. We discussed, how it was a difficult move, for an easy move on the front end in Boca. But the lady who bought the piano is, I don't know where she's from, but she's living in Fort Lauderdale. Her and her significant other are in a condo in Fort Lauderdale on the beach. And where we moved the piano to was not to there, but moved it out to Okeechobee on a ranch. They've got, I think she said 42 acres.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Wow.
And it's their getaway. Like, a lot of people get away to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they live on the beach, but they bought this ranch, 42 acres, and they go there. She works from home. I don't know what he does, but when they're done with their work on Friday, they shoot from Lauderdale out to Okeechobee, which, if you're not familiar, it's about a 2-hour drive towards the middle of the state. And they have 42 acres of farm that they've built. It was just land, and they've done everything themselves.
Yep.
They put all the fences up themselves. They welded the gates on the front of the property, and she said she was out there with a ratchet and a socket wrench every day until somebody came along
With an electric ratchet.
Yeah.
She goes, I didn't even know what this thing's called, but
Yeah.
I was out here with a wrench just tightening these screws
Yeah.
or bolts to,
In which she was
and
and
cutting
should
all
be.
the slats for the fence. And
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
goes, and then some guy comes with, I don't know what they call it, but it's a
Yeah,
tighten the
yeah.
nuts.
So they literally were doing everything by hand. I think she said 3.5 years or so since they did this. So it's probably maybe a COVID inspired thing. Really, I didn't think to ask that, but that's, people that are doing well for themselves on the beach, and they're like, screw this, we want a ranch, and they got there every weekend, and they're busting their butt. And they've got, I think,
An outhouse?
they've got an outhouse, a
caboose?
A caboose?
Yeah, they got a caboose that they built train tracks to put on,
Yep.
which actually sits on the same line that a railroad used to be back in the day to carry limes up through the state or something.
That's cool.
Lime tracks, I think.
It's called it lime track, right?
Yeah.
But so cool because they're spending their extra time getting away from the world,
Civilization.
getting
And
away from civilization.
it doesn't take long to get there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And that's one thing that people don't consider about Florida too. You know what I mean? There's much more wilderness than there is beach. Yep. Well, I don't know. We got a lot of beach, but there's just as much country living. And these folks are just doing it. It was just so cool. She was telling us about how they're doing it, and they cut every board for all their cattle stalls, and they got
Horse stalls.
Yeah, I mean they just set it up really cool.
Yeah, they've got a like a cattle line. Basically, they send the cattle through this line, and they have different gates that they can block them into, and if they have to deworm them or they can section them off, or send them into the truck. So it goes right up into a truck, and it's really cool. They put one section into a swivel, so that way they can, if they're deworming them, or they can swivel it and then open up the gate, and then the cow can get back into the corral, so that way it can go back into the pasture.
Yeah,
It's really neat.
They got their own hamburgers.
Well, they do that too.
Yeah.
They do that for sure.
That's fast food.
Yeah.
No, that's not fast
Well,
food.
no,
That's a
it's
long
not,
time food.
And she was telling, there's a pond right there. And she says they typically have a gator or two small ones that are hanging around, but they recently had like a 8-9 footer that was in there.
Oh, really?
And they had to have it removed because it's like, yeah, that's too hungry of a boy to be hanging around too much.
Yeah.
So,
You can make him your pet, you know?
yeah. Well, if you start from when they're in your hands, you can do that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's still iffy, but just a random one that ends up in your pond, yeah.
Yeah, well, now you see on YouTube, these people that raise these gators, and the gators coming up and giving them a kiss.
Yeah. It's a little much.
Yeah, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
So let's get into okay. So we know what you guys do for your profession and your careers. What do you guys like to do outside of that? Like, what are your hobbies? What are your you're married with 2 kids, and you're married with your 2 kids, your dogs, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, 3 now, right?
Yeah, I have 3 dogs.
3 now.
Yep.
So, what do you guys like to do when you're not working here? I think people should know that. I get to know us personally, outside of we're piano guys, but what other hobbies do you guys have?
Well, I work for Hamilton Piano, so on my day off, I do laundry and grocery shopping, and
Cook dinner.
take some leave and get ready for Monday. Well, that's a lot of times the truth during season, especially, which is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But we do try to take every other Saturday off or something like that during the summers, and my wife and I, Stacy, are in a boat club. We like going out on a boat as often as possible, which I think I need to get into the schedule and see if I can get a couple more scheduled before season really gets upon us. I got 2 daughters, 19 and 13, Ariel and Samantha. Ariel's working now, and Sammy's still in school. They both like also going out on the boat. We bring our dog. Well, we've got 2 dogs too. One of them's boat worthy. The other one's not boat worthy. He's just no good to bring out in public. Yeah, we like going out on a boat. We just kind of like bebopping around town, and we got so many that's the cool thing, people say it all the time, but we do live in paradise.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's simple to go shoot off to the beach. I on a Sunday morning, it's nothing for me to get up early, which I do all the time anyway. And like I was just saying a couple weeks ago, on a Saturday we had off, I was up, went to the gym, left the gym, went to the beach shortly after sunrise, and took a swim, and I got home, and my wife and daughters are all still asleep. So I got all sorts of great stuff accomplished,
right.
Before anybody woke up. But that's living in paradise. We got the beach right here, some of the best beaches in the world, boating, fishing. I love fishing. I don't get to do nearly as much of it, but yeah, it's some of what we love doing. And my daughter, also the youngest, is still in soccer. So that's another big part of our life too. Is, we got 2 soccer games a week and practice and all that kind of stuff. So it's fun.
Good. What about you?
Well, I like Hayden. I also work for Hamilton Piano. So I'm not working. I get home and do take care of the dogs, and then go on Trello and make sure there's nothing we didn't forget for tomorrow. No, but I've got a Harley, so we'll go out on the Harley sometimes, or if my wife's working, I'll go wake up early and jump on a boat and go deep sea fishing, and when my wife's home, she's not working, we're both off, we'll go out to breakfast or brunch, and go see movies, or just spend quality time with each other, and enjoy the dogs and the house and everything.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask is because I think it's good for people to know what other people's hobbies are and what they like to do, because it makes them more familiar with that person. I'm boring. Yeah.
I was gonna say, so what do you do?
This is my world. This
He comes
is,
to the shop and builds stuff.
Every day.
I'm here.
Sorry, Tina.
I'm building stuff. That's just what I do. I do spend Sundays when I'm not concert tuning at home. I do like to watch. My wife and I do like to go out to eat. We like to go to the movies. We do like to go. We go to Tallahassee all the time because of my daughter. So that's kind of a little getaway that we usually do, but that's about the gist of it. We do love going to see my son playing in his concerts, at FAU. And, but for me, I love riding my motorcycle. I mean, I loved it.
Well, I remember,
but,
you and I both used to jump on the bikes and just cruise, it was fun to do.
I just won't do it with this traffic around here. I just won't. And if I was in the country, if I was in Okeechobee, I'd have a bike,
sure.
no
Or
problem.
up in Fort Pierce, along.
That's true. You're in a better
Crystal.
spot than me.
Yep.
And I love to go fishing too. I don't know. I think what happens with me is that from Monday at 6 a.m. till Saturday at 6 p.m., I am gangbusters, ball to the wall, doing what I'm doing. Sunday, you got
to just take a deep breath,
right? And I'm like when you said, "Hey, we should take what was the Labor Day off," and I'm like, "That's a great idea." And I'm like, because I was looking forward to it, and it did rejuvenate me to a point. But and
all I could think about was being here, though.
no, I did actually pretty good. He'd be proud of me. I mean, there used to be nights that I wouldn't even sleep. I would be up all night with ideas and trying to come up with stuff. And like I think you had this problem too, where you would say you'd wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning because you were like, oh, this customer, I got to call this customer. And I would do that too, and it's like, when you are in the thick of things with a company, and if you care about the company, whether you told me you felt that way the other night. You woke up and you were thinking about this customer. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, we eat, sleep, and breathe this business and what we do, and we care about it so much and have such a love for it, not just for the company, but for the customers that are affiliated with it. Exactly. So when that happens to us, it's just like, that's how much we care. I don't know if there's that much dedication out there, with other companies like we have. I'm not saying that there aren't. I'm just saying that with what I've seen here with our crew and who we are and why we do what we do, that is why we are on top of things, is because we are that one step ahead. We, once again, expect the unexpected, think outside the box, one step ahead. You're already there. There's always going to be because always. Absolutely. We had a surprise with Royal Caribbean when we, put that, we had to make a leg for that piano because the leg was so shattered on there, it was about to fall off. And we made a whole leg from scratch because I couldn't get it in time from Yamaha. And the ship was only in port for that one day. We made the leg from scratch. Gerhardt did a great job. We refinished it to match the piano. We put it on, and there was a little hiccup with the new dolly. The pedals were touching the ground. So we took care of it by getting spacers to that are going to get put underneath to raise it up, and everything's great. You're going to have hiccups, And the reason why there was this hiccup is because it was a short leg with a very big caster, which is not normal, on a C7. I mean, how many C7s have you seen that were like that?
This is the first one I've ever seen like it.
Yeah. So, but
how old is that piano?
It's not that old. I think it was like, I don't know exactly offhand, but I think it was 16 years old, 18 years old.
Okay. So that's pretty old for that type of caster. Like, because the CFX and those type of
you would see it on a 9-footer, yeah, absolutely, but not a C7.
Right.
Now I know you see it on a Steinway B, you'll see it on a D, 9-foot Steinway.
Your CF3 is not short leg though, like that.
No, C3s aren't.
No, your CF3. Your 9-foot.
No, mine's not. No, not all 9-footers.
That was new for Yamaha when they did the CFX, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, and Steinway's been doing it for a while because I have a Humberg Steinway D at the Society of the Four Arts that is fantastic piano. I love that piano. We restrung it, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it's just a magnificent instrument. And they had the bigger caster, shorter leg. They ended up, we replaced those casters for them, I want to say about 3 years ago or so. And it turned out to be, I did it by myself, so I had to jack the piano up by, get one leg off, back it out, put the new caster in, and make sure.
I helped you with that one.
Did you?
Yep.
I could have sworn I was by myself.
Nope.
Okay. Sorry, I was wrong.
No, because we had parked along the side, and it's that one building, right? You go through the parking lot and come up that side street on the right-hand side, up on that stage.
You sure it was a 9-footer? I was
Positive.
pretty, because they have 2 9-footers.
That's
Oh,
a
I
mighty
know we
tall
replaced that
stage,
one.
too.
What's that?
That's a mighty tall.
Oh,
stage.
it is.
Check
Oh, yeah, that's at the other theater. That was
Okay.
the B, I think. That
No,
we
they
put-
had the 9-footer. They had a 9-footer there.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
They have a
And
9-footer.
we did that one.
Right.
I brought that
I-
Hamburg B in before I was with you guys.
Oh, really?
I brought that
Oh, right,
Hamburg
right.
B from somewhere in Miami. I think it was a donor or something, I believe.
No, they bought it.
Oh, did they?
They bought
Okay.
it.
Yeah, it was a killer piano.
Yep.
That was. I remember that because I didn't even have a 12-foot ramp at the time. We did that on a 10-foot ramp.
Oh.
Yeah, and the stage. I mean, that's like a
It's
5
5
foot
It's tall.
stage or so.
Yeah,
Like,
easy.
and Cliff, we'll have Cliff on the podcast at some point. People heard us from out in the offices, and they came in to check on us because we got it up the ramp, and Cliff bottomed out at the top. His wheels got over, but I mean, we're at such a great angle. And I'm sort of like in the middle of the ramp on the bottom, and then we're just having to. I don't know how I can do this for the camera, but so Cliff's on top, and he's just having to pick up a little bit at a time, and he 1, 2, 3, he picks up, and we go a couple inches.
All right.
1, 2, 3, go a couple inches. 1, 2, 3, go a couple inches, and then finally the weight turns, and he's on the ground, and I'm in the air. Then I got to pick up a couple inches and go a little bit. Pick up. It was a nightmare.
Yep.
Absolute nightmare. That was a tough move for 2 people.
Yep.
I got a good friend that we know that works there, and she came out. She's like, "Are you guys okay?" We're like, "Yeah, we're fine. We'll be okay. This is normal."
Well, we put the 9-foot Otto Altenburg up there.
Yep.
And that piano is heavier than, it's almost like a 9-foot Mason, the weight. And we did that. And that was a mamma jamma.
That was what, 3 of us or 4 of us?
Well, the story with that piano is when Four Arts,
On that same stage.
on that same
Oh, that's
stage,
yeah.
when Four Arts bought that piano, they asked us to pick it up. And now back then, Dan Cody, if for those of you if you knew Dan Cody, you know who he was. So
Everybody knows him.
So this piano was on the 5th floor in a condo in South Palm Beach, and it would barely fit in the elevator. We had to put it keyboard end down, and it went into the elevator and is pushing
That was me.
the ceiling up.
That was myself, you,
Dan,
Dan.
and like 2 of his guys, right?
Gearhart was there.
Gerhardt was there. Yep. And I think 1 or 2 of his guys.
One of his guys, because we all stopped at Publix on the after we were finished with it. We were like, we need something to eat after this, so we stopped at Publix.
There was just enough room for the piano and 1 guy, and that was me. I was in the elevator and I wrote it down, and we came down, and we get it out, and then it's windy. It was so windy that day. That now Dan's truck was almost as tall as that stage. So we're going up, and the wind's just going like this with the piano. We're pushing it up, and we got it in the truck.
Did he have the winch yet?
No, not yet.
We manhandled it. Dan liked doing things the hard way, so
For as good as he was.
I know. So then we have to go put it on stage at the Four Arts. But we had a 12-foot ramp.
Yeah.
That 2 feet makes a big difference in
for
angle.
sure.
I mean,
It's
it's
a
a big
big
difference
difference in angle.
And we got it up there, and we did that. But we had to. It was me and Don Banks. I think we took that B off of the stage. We did. The B came off of the stage one time, if I remember correctly, and we had to bring it to the shop to do something to it. I don't remember what it was. And we had to bring it back. And so it was me and Don Banks that put it back onto the stage, but I had a 12-foot ramp. It was easier, and it was on a chariot. And so I'm like, all right, Don, I'm going to go. You ready? He goes, yeah. And because, I don't move the pianos all day, every day like you guys do, but I'm a piano tuner,
And we don't hold that against you.
And thank you. And so I pushed that thing up, and we got it up on the stage, and I go, so, hey, Don, how'd I do? He goes, oh, man, you did great. I'm like, all right.
For a piano tuner.
Not bad for a piano tuner. So, but yeah, I mean, it's, these types of stories I think people should hear because it's the behind the scenes stuff. Once again, it's the pit crew with NASCAR, it's the trainer with the boxer. It's that kind of stuff that some people are going to like it, some people aren't. But, it's how do you know that not every person listening or watching this podcast is going to like every single thing that we're talking about, but we won't know unless we talk about it and then get feedback from them saying, hey, that was a great topic. I'd like to hear more stories, or you guys shut up. I didn't like that. I want to hear something else, you know, it's things like that. But I think we should, you know, we were also talking about, we do have other guests coming on, and now that we're going to do the video and have the second camera set up and doing all that stuff, we will have, you know, that'll be more interesting, I think, for our viewers. And this is our podcast table now, of course, that everyone can see that we made up.
Yeah,
you know,
I guess this is the first time it's...
So we have our cords here. So basically, you pull the cord, plug the microphone in, and then this here is you just pull this out and you put this into your headphone, and there's six jacks for everybody. We actually, you can't see it, but in our drawer here is all our electronics to be able to configure everything, so all of our audio is correct. And
we're trying.
We're trying.
Let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, give us a you know, don't leave us yet. Don't leave us yet.
It's on you guys now.
It's going to get better. We promise.
Yeah, it will.
We've got some good guests coming on soon. And, you know, I mean,
we were talking about you know, Steve Camp once again, and we were talking about Bob Luptak from Steinway Piano Gallery, and then Willie from Norton Museum. He was super interested in doing it. And, you know, there's a couple other guys. Todd Feldman, he would be a great one to get on. So we got to, you know, I got to talk to him and set that up. And because he told me he's got a ton of stories, you know, and that's the people that we want to have on, is people that are going to tell the stories that I think listeners are going to want to hear.
And,
right.
Absolutely.
And everything in life needs to be inspirational. If it's not, life is kind of
win-win-win.
It's not a win-win-win, and it's that's our slogan at Hamilton Piano. It's a win-win-win. You know, if it's not inspirational, then life is kind of mundane. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you have to be inspired every day to want to go to work, or to want to, you know, go on vacation, or to
have those nightmares when you're sleeping.
Yeah. So, but, you know, we will get better. Promise you, we will get better. As you can tell, our audio is definitely better from podcast 3 till now. Now that we got video, that's going to get better. And our guest, you know, I mean, we've had some good guests already. So
absolutely.
They're going to keep continuing to grow that way. And
we're going to have other employees on as well, too. Try to, you know, let you get to know
Rosie,
who else works at the shop. What everybody does, and a little taste of what we all do around here.
Yeah, exactly. And
we post our videos too. You know,
right.
We make our videos, or you make most of the videos, and they're on our Facebook page. And are they on the website, or pretty much the Facebook page?
I think Facebook, YouTube, they're on those.
Okay.
Now that we got these big fancy dancy cameras, we're going to start redoing some videos, because these are like wah cameras. I mean, as much as wah allows me to spend.
It kind of goes wah, wah, wah.
And so like we did do a video last week of our new action workstation, this 28-foot workstation that we made. And the video was okay. And then Jordan, Jordan, you know, said, hey, listen, for the podcast, we need some good cameras. So we got these cameras. We got a gimbal, because he did the video, and it was just a little shaky. And he goes, well, we need the right gimbal for this. So I said, let's get the gimbal. Let's do that video. So now our videos are going to be better. So these are all, I always wanted to do a TV show. I always wanted to not be followed with a camera, you know, like paparazzi with a camera. What I wanted to be, wanted to film what we do here, because everybody, and I've said this before, that comes through these doors is inspired and is so intrigued into what we are doing. And that's what I want, because if they are feeling that way, we're doing our jobs correctly by giving them the knowledge they need to know for what they're, you know, what goes into a piano. For instance, the electrician that was here.
They were totally digging.
We took his boys around the shop and showed them, and they were like, "What? This is incredible!" I mean, and that is what we want to do. Whether you own a piano or looking to buy a piano, or the next time, like for them, okay, they don't own a piano, they don't play. Oh, well and good, nothing wrong with that. But the next time they see a piano, American Idol, The Voice, or whatever, oh, remember Toby was telling us there's 220 strings in that piano. It has 20 tons of tension. You remember that?
They're going to look at it completely different now.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well,
You know,
that's like that one customer that we had up in Jupiter. We talked her into getting some touch up on her piano done. I think it was a Baldwin R, and I talked her into getting a player system because she didn't play, and so she brought her husband in, and we took him on a tour of the shop, and he was just blown away, and he was like, I had no idea the craftsmanship that goes through this building. He goes, you look out on the outside, you would never guess the craftsmanship that goes on in here. He goes, I drove him past this building 1,000 times. Would have never guessed it. And then wound up doing all the work that needed to be done to the piano because he felt confident in our company.
and that's because we show you what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We're not telling you. We can show you. So whenever a customer needs something done, do not take my word for it. Just come to the shop and see what we do. Because when you do that, you are seeing everything that I see. One, it's easier to explain what needs to get done when you're showing someone, in person. And two, it's showing that we're telling you the truth. We would never ever try to have someone do something to their piano it doesn't need. We can offer it and recommend it, but it's your piano. You tell us what you want us to do, and that's what we'll do. Just remember, if you don't do it this way, that this could happen, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I think that we have a different approach to how we do business.
Well, we can also show them the ins and outs of a piano. If they all want to just learn how a piano works, they can learn about that here, to where you're not going to, you can go to a piano store, but how much are you going to learn about the piano at, just a dealer?
Right.
We can actually show you, the action. We can show you the soundboard taken out. We can show you, how long it takes to, to satinize a piano or, hand rub a piano, how many hours that goes into. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well, we have a field trip here tomorrow. So a piano teacher
right.
is bringing 25 students tomorrow at 3:00. And, field trips, she goes, well, how long does it last for? I said, well, it depends. It depends on the students, usually 45 minutes. I've had some almost last 2 hours because the kids were so enthused and so interested in everything and asking great questions. I really like some of the kids have asked me through the years with all the field trips that I've done, some great questions. And it's like, I love that, and it was kind of funny because at the old shop, when I first started doing the free field trips, one of my piano teachers came, and her husband was an engineer. So he's asking me some questions, and Tina was there. And so I answered his questions, correctly and everything. And she goes, man, he was asking you some hard questions, but you knew the answer. I said, well, I better. This is my profession,
Right.
But it was one of those things. We had one time, one of our customers that lives right here in Palm Springs, she was doing it was a student exchange. I think they were from Spain, these kids. Foreign exchange. So, not student exchange, foreign exchange. So they were doing a field, they were here for 2 months, I think. It was during the summer. And this was at the old shop. And so she said, can we do a field trip with you? And I said, sure. Then they would just go to different places doing things. These were kids that were, I think their youngest was maybe 10, oldest was 17, so somewhere in that age range. So a little bit older group. Usually I have kids that are 5, 6, and so on and so forth. I got a great picture with them, and she told me, because I still tuned for her down the street, she said that was the highlight of them coming over here, was coming to your shop and you explaining what goes into the piano. They were so interested in how you explain things, and they had no clue. A lot of them didn't play the piano. Some of them did, but it doesn't matter. It's not about whether you play the piano or not. It's about us teaching people what goes into the piano, just so you treat it as a musical instrument, not a piece of furniture. Because the moment you do that, it starts getting neglected. It starts getting to the point where then when the time comes and you're like, well, I want to sell this thing and it's not kept up. So you think it's in great shape, but it really isn't because it wasn't taken care of because you looked at it as a piece of furniture. It's not. It's a musical instrument. It's not a guitar you put off to the side. It's a musical instrument that is a focal point in most homes. I mean, some people, that's the first thing they buy when they get a home is this is where the piano goes. Yeah.
Hopefully.
And hopefully they buy it from Hamilton Piano Company.
Like the one we delivered today. That was the first thing in that place.
Yep.
I mean, I think they were making their barn into a living quarter, which, but there was no furniture. No, there was a couch.
There was a couch.
That was it.
Yeah. But I mean, the walls weren't even finished yet. I mean, they had.
But that was the first thing in our, which was awesome.
Yeah. But that's the piano in cultural society has a huge significance, in my opinion. Now, granted, I'm biased because I'm in the business, okay? But if you really look at history, okay, most of the music we listen to today came from something from the piano, from Mozart, Bach. I mean, way back in the day, it all started from that and evolved into what we got today. Just like a square grand piano evolved into the modern piano, and even before the square grand, it was what Cristofori came up with, and so on and so forth.
Cristofori,
not Cristofori. Cristofori, and those. It's really important that is brought up and that people think about it that way. I'll give you an example. One time, I am tuning at. You remember the Governor's Club used to be in West Palm Beach? It was a restaurant on top of a business complex condo. Okay, and they had a piano in there. So
was that in the Darth Vader building?
No, it was where Okeechobee, right by the bridge. It used to be right there.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's
they have the underground loading dock.
I think so. Yes. Yep. So what happened was one time I'm tuning the piano, and of course there's some guests still finishing up eating or whatever, and I'm tuning the piano. And this guy walks up to me. He goes, "Now I know why I wanted to kill my mother for giving me piano lessons." And I'm just like, what? I'm like, now, of course, I'm tuning. I'm not playing a song, so I don't blame him for that. Ding, ding, ding. That's not fun. No one wants to hear that. Ding, ding, ding. But I'm just like, why would you, either your mom used to slam the fallboard on your fingers or something, which some teachers I've heard used to do.
Smashing rulers.
Yeah. But I was just like, I was taken back by that because I was feeling like, well, you just had the wrong, if you really would have had the right teacher or the right way to go about it. I don't think I've really come across a person that doesn't like the piano, whether they play it or not. It's just they're, and especially when they're intrigued and they learn about what goes inside of it, they're more like, oh, wow, I had no clue. 9 to 14,000 parts, more moving parts than a piano. Once again, 20 tons of tension in a piano. I mean, more moving parts than in a car. That's what I meant to say. Not a piano, but it
actually has the same amount of moving parts as a piano.
You're absolutely right on that. Ding, 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 ding.
I think he was just testing you. See if you're paying attention.
But these are the things that, once again, and if I said it before in the past, I apologize. It is just what people should know. They should know about the stories. They should know about what goes into the piano, and they should, have a different view of what the piano actually is. Some of the comments I've been getting from people that have listened, other technicians, is good. They're hearing the passion that we have, because we really do. I mean, we are absolutely passionate about what we do. To some people, it's just a job. No, this isn't just a job. This is a career. This is a lifelong dedication to doing what's best for the instrument. We
live, breathe, and bleed.
Yeah, we've said it before. I don't know about on the podcast, but we consider ourselves ambassadors for the instrument. Mm-hmm. We talk about it everywhere we go. Right. And people ask, of course, if you're in the business, that if you go out in some sort of social setting with people that are not in the piano business, as soon as you mention you're a piano mover, piano tuner, boom, that's it. Everybody wants to know. Oh my gosh, really? There's people that actually do that? No, and people are so interested just with that simple comment, like, no, I'm in the piano business. You're what? You know what I mean?
That's such a thing.
Yeah. I tell people I'm a piano mover.
Mhm.
People actually do that.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, well, they don't fly, they don't walk. You know, they have to get
Not
around.
yet.
Not yet.
Well, so I before my dad passed away, we were talking. I said, "Hey, Dad, out of all the people on this planet, now back then, you know, now there's more, of course, but I think there was 7 billion or 8 billion people on this whole planet." I said, "Hey, Dad, how many people on this planet actually know what goes into a piano?" Manufacturers do. Well, there's only 3 in the States. Piano rebuilders do. Piano teachers don't. Piano players don't, like Copeland. He didn't know till he started, you know, hanging out with us and explaining and learning from us. Piano players, once again. And I said, so it's probably 1% of the world's population. And he goes, Toby, it's probably 0.1%.
Yeah.
That actually knows
nowhere near 1%.
Right. And it's probably 0.1% that actually knows what goes into a piano. And that intrigued me even more to want to do this business because I'm like, wow. Because I know for a fact that there are less than 100 people in this country that do some of the work that we do. And I know for a fact there are things that we do that no one else does.
Yeah.
And that is enticing to me because it is something that we can call our own. You know what I mean? It's something we can say we are in an elite few of what we do with, you know, the our business, you know. So that's just to me, that's just cool, you know. And
that's one of the reasons I've always loved the business.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, you know, we hope everyone enjoyed this podcast, and we do hope that everyone follows us, gives us good criticism, you know.
Even that, I mean, we can't learn, you know, if we don't know what we're doing wrong.
No, not the bad. Keep the bad to yourself. Not interested. Sorry.
And, you know, please follow us on Facebook and YouTube, and visit our website at hamiltonpianoco.com. And give us feedback. We want to know. You know, we want to know what you like. We want to know what you don't like. I mean, we want to make this podcast successful so that more and more people want to listen to it and learn about what we do. I think it's I think that's just what I think, you know, people should do, is get a better understanding of what goes into the piano. So, and if you keep your piano tuned regularly, I promise you it's going to be happy, and it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. We really do appreciate it. Have a good night.
Have a good night.